What's up guys, I'm back with another video. Today I'll be comparing 4 traits to see which is best. The first trait I'll be comparing with the other 4 is Gambler. I'm going to compare Savior, I'm going to compare Reaper, and I'm going to compare Majestic. So let's get into it. Okay, I'm back here and this is what I'm going to be doing. The 4 traits are Gambler, Savior, Reaper, and lastly Majestic. So this is Awakened Dori. Base damage of Awakened Dori is about 1.3 million damage, and that's level 90 with no trait. So first let's do the math here. Gambler is gonna have a 5% crit chance, and then it has 10x crit damage. Savior has a 20% crit chance, which is actually very nice. That's a lot. And then I'll just say, because it's Awakened Dori, I'm just going to say 2x damage. Because, yeah, it's not like this all the time. It's just because Awakened Dori, it's a one placement. Reaper, let's say, I'll just say Reaps. If you don't know what Reaper does, what it does is basically, every hit it does, there's a chance that it instantly kills the enemy and buffs the damage. Majestic does 1.4 times damage. And it also gives 1.2% X range. I think it says it might be a little more. It might be a little more than this range, but I'm not 100% sure. So let's do the math here first. The artifact we're going to be giving these guys is a. Also, if you don't want to see me do all the math and stuff, just skip to the end of the video so you can see the final results, because I will be ranking them at the end, so you'll see what the best trait for Dori is. But the artifact we're going to be giving it is going to be an average one of, like, I'll say 8% crit chance. I'm going to do what matters. And then I'll say that's the only one. I'm not going to do crit damage. That's too hard to put in with all this stuff, I think. But here, I'll just do this. Crit chance. So we're just going to have crit chance. Okay, well, I'll do the math anyway. It's plus 40% crit damage. This is the artifact we're gonna have. I'm not gonna have a damage one. That's just adding on a bunch of multipliers. It's not really needed here. So if we have an 8% artifact crit chance, with Dori, Gambler, once it gets like all the way to max, at very max, I think it gets up to like 30% crit chance. Savior is going to get up to like 47% crit chance. Reaper is just always going to be the same with that 8%, so I think that's about 20% crit chance. Majestic is just going to be 8% crit chance. It doesn't have any added crit chance. So here are all the crit chance. Savior so far is the most crit chance. Gambler has the second most. Reaper has the third, and then Majestic last. Now we're going to be doing crit damage. So with 10x crit damage plus this 40%, I believe that gets up to, what is that? Plus 40% of 10, that's 14x crit damage. So let me go down here. Let me just give myself some more room, because I'm going to be doing a lot of math here. This one has, if it's plus 40% crit damage, it already does 2 times damage. So this is just, let's see, what would that be? That would just be, how much of the regular one's got? I'll just say 2x for crit. 2x crit damage. It's a little less, this is a little more than what I'm saying, but yeah. This one, I believe, let's see, if it has plus crit damage, this would be doing also around 2x crit damage. And same with this one. This isn't 100% accurate, but yeah, it's what I'm going to base it on. So that's all the crit stuff. Now we get into damage. And so Gambler one's going to have the base damage of 1.3 million DPS. Or 1.3 million damage. I'll say that. Savior, he does have 2x damage, so this is going to be 2.7 million damage. These numbers are going to be a little off. It says 1.3 million, but it's actually 1.347 million. So I'm just going to round it. Crit has a normal one of 1.3 million. Majestic, let me go do the math for that one real quick. 1.45 times. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm going to take a few breaks in here just because I'm trying to get everything exactly right. Okay, so that's all the damage. This is, let's see. So far, Savior has most damage, but now we're actually gonna put in the crit chance and crit damage to see what it does. So let me get something real quick. I'm just gonna type something. Okay, so crit chance is 30% for this. So that's pretty good. I am gonna round up to 33 though, and say every 1/3 of the hits I'm gonna get a crit hit. It'll be a little less than that, but I think it won't throw off the numbers too much. So I'll say 1/3 of the time it gets a crit hit, about 4.5, and I just multiply 4.5. This is the average EPS with everything up here combined. Saviors, let me do that real quick. Half of the time we'll get a crit hit. He already does 2x damage, so that's already 2.7 million damage. And then 50% of the time he does 2 times more than that. So that's what, 1.3. I think that'll be, hold up, let me see. That'll be 4 million damage DPS, I think. I'm pretty sure that'll be 4 million DPS. Average DPS equals 4 million. It's something around there. For Reaper, you know exactly sure. There's no way to know how much it's gonna reap. But I'd say on average, middle of the games, my Reaper Dori has about, let's say, 1.5 million damage probably, or no, probably a little more than that. I think in the middle of the game, my Dori's doing like 2.6 million damage, roughly around there. So I'm just gonna go off the mid game. 20% of the time it'll do 2x damage, so that's on average, that'll be plus 0.4% damage, which is, I'm just gonna take a guess. If I'm saying 2.5 million damage, so I will say around mid game, it's gonna be around 2.8 million DPS. This is in the middle of the game. Majestic, its crit chance is very low. I'm gonna round up to 10%, and then so 10% of the time I'll do 2x damage. So that is on average plus 0.2, so that's around 2.2 million DPS. So these are all the average DPSs of the final. Gambler has 5.8 million, Savior 4 million, Reaper 2.8 million, Majestic 2.2 million. Now Majestic is significantly lower than that, and he doesn't have anything else that could really help it. So the number 4 spot, the worst trait for Dori, is going to be Majestic. Also Reaper is just a lot below these guys, so I'm going to say number 3 spot is going to be Reaper for Dori. So now we're just left with Savior and Gambler. Now these ones are pretty close in the average EPS. This one has a lot more, but Savior also is more guaranteed. So I'll say usability. Savior is going to be very usable, just because it already does ×2 damage. It doesn't just completely rely on getting crit stuff, but this one, it does have a pretty high crit chance, so I'm going to say average reliable usability. Obviously it's very usable, but any Awakened Dori is going to be very usable, but I'm comparing just a Gambler to a Savior, so yeah. This usability, that gives Savior an edge here, so I'd say it's about equal on which one you should get for now. But yeah, let me also write. Okay, well, Majestic is a 0.5 trait, Reaper is a 0.5 trait, Savior is a 0.5 trait, Gambler is like a 10%. So Gambler is definitely a lot easier. It's 20 times easier to get than any of these traits other. So yeah, Gambler is definitely easiest to get. And then I'm also, that's Gambler, just what makes Gambler so good is his 10x crit damage. Because if you get like some good artifact, if you get a good artifact on it that does a lot of crit chance, he's just gonna do so much damage. That's how he got 14x crit damage. Savior here, he just has very high crit chance. There's one more thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say time in 0.5 cooldown. I'm gonna say that for both. Time in 0.5 cooldown. So this is gonna take a little bit of explaining, but basically what I mean by time in 0.5 cooldown is normally Dori's cooldown is just 1, but after Dori gets a crit hit, well then that'll turn to 0.5 and buff its crit chance just for a little bit. So that's after a crit hit. So that makes Savior, that makes its crit chance at 17% more. So that just gives Savior a huge edge here. So I'm gonna say, because like 50% of the time you just can go in that 0.5 mode, just do crazy damage in that 0.5 mode. So time 0.5 cooldown, I'll say on average it's gonna be it's always gonna be in that 0.5 cooldown. This one is not gonna be exactly always, but it's gonna be like, I'll say 90% of the time. So this one, it gives Savior a slight edge, but that one was very close. And this is what I'm gonna have finalized. Also, let me do. I'm gonna calculate the average EPS for time in 0.5 cooldown. So that just makes it the damage times 2. So that makes average DPS equals 8 million. This is gonna be the final number for everything up here. All of the stats given. So if I say 90% of the time, what that'll do is it's gonna make number 1, me multiply 5.8 million by 2, and that's gonna be 11.6 million, and then 11.6 million. Put you back there, but anyway, I'll do it. 11.6 times 0.9. That will give you a number of 10.4. So average DPS. So here are the final numbers. Savior here, average DPS of 8 million. Gambler here, average DPS of 10 million. So this is gonna be the final number I'm gonna use. So in total, Gambler is the best trait for a Dori. So I recommend getting Gambler. Savior is also really good. If you get a Savior, I wouldn't roll off of it because it's still very close just because of the usability. It makes it a lot closer than you think. But yeah, I'd say Gambler has a very slight edge on it. So if you get any trait on your guy, I recommend getting Gambler. This is for Awakened Dori, and also you have to remember, here's the artifact right here. So right here, this is the final numbers. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.